Hey guys, Chevy Sargent here, and today I'm bringing you another story, and this one's going to be about my '78 Chevy K10. So I kind of just covered the backstory on the Camaro the other day. You guys had a lot of good and bad comments about based on the before and after picture, but anyhow, this truck's got a good story too. So again, this is my '78 Chevy K10. I've had it for, I don't know, math. I've had it since 2018. I gave $400 for this truck. So here's the story. So my brother and I, he's my half brother by my mom. His dad's side of the family, they have a lot of property down in West Virginia. So this truck originally belonged to my brother's uncle Lester, and he had it for a lot of years. You know, he off-roaded it and raced it in the field and used it as a work truck. You know, like trucks do. And he had it for a long time. So anyhow, this truck, you know, beating on it down in the hills of West Virginia, things break, and it went through a couple transmissions, probably a couple engines, differentials, you name it. Well, at some point along the line, when the most recent transmission went out, they parked it up, and I want to say it sat for around 12 years at that point. When they parked it, it sat for about 12 years by the time I ended up with it in 2018. And, you know, kind of similar stories. What happens with old cars, something breaks, you don't have time or money or, you know, things like that. Life happens. So people park things, mean to get back to them, and just gets put on the back burner. Well, Lester had sold it to his son Alex, and same deal. You know, Alex didn't have much time for it, so sat in the same spot. Well, fast forward to, I want to say 2016. I went down with my brother for the first time to the family property and to go ride four wheelers, and I seen this truck sitting there on bricks. And you know, me being me, I'd love old cars and trucks and things. So at the time, I had my 1980 Camaro, and I had it was a 2000 Silverado. It was a single cab long bed with a 4.8 that we'd given like $800 for. So, you know, rattle can, matte black, just, you know, something to drive while my Camaro was parked up. One of the other times it was broken down. So I went down there. I was 15 years old when I first seen it, and before I was even driving. And I was like, man, I really want that truck. It's like, you know, whose truck is that? And they told me, like, well, it was Lester's, and now Alex has it. He's gonna fix it up. I was like, okay, you know. Every year I went back riding my four-wheeler. Truck's still sitting in the same spot. I was like, man, I really want that truck, you know. I looked at it just sitting there on bricks, and I always like kind of want to know what the story of the car is. You know, it always makes you wonder, like thinking, you know, this thing's been on this planet longer than I have. Like, if only it could tell a story, you know, what would it be? So skip ahead a few years. 2018 rolls around. At this point, I'm 17, and had some experience working on cars at that point because I'd been tinkering with my Camaro, and I was just getting ready to start at the Career Center for auto body and whatnot. So my brother, funny enough, this is how this kind of all played out. My brother was doing side work, doing junk removal. So he had a junk removal sticker on the side of his SUV. And so we was down there at the cabin. His uncle comes up and says, hey, Taylor. He's like, when are you going to come haul this old truck out of here so you're doing junk removal? He's like, I'm sick of mowing around the thing. So I looked at him and said, are you actually selling it? He's like, well, it's Alex's truck, so I don't know. I don't know if he's going to sell it or not. He's like, but I might just go ahead and junk it and pay him the difference. Like, well, don't junk it. I was like, I'll buy it. I said, just figure it out. And I said, I'll buy it if you're going to sell it. He said, okay. He calls me up. He says, hey, give me $800 and it's yours. I said, okay. So I'm, 17 years old. I was cutting grass and stuff on the side, but I didn't have an actual job. So I'm running around. I'm scrambling. Like, how am I going to get the money for this truck? And then he calls me up again. A couple months later, he says, hey, tell you what, give me $400. You can come pick it up whenever. And you can make payments even if you have to. So I just need it out of here. Tired of mowing around it. I said, okay. So I looked at my dad. I said, hey, you got to help me get this truck. Why do you want that one? You know, it's sitting in the field, the frame's probably rotting on it, you know, engine's probably locked up, doesn't have a transmission. You know, everybody's telling me like this thing's probably not worth it. You know, they're sending me ones on Marketplace, everybody's sending me different ones. I'm like, no, I want that one. So my dad, being the good dad he is, he calls his boss and says, hey, can I borrow your truck and trailer? You know, so sure enough, boss says yes. We go grab the truck, grab the trailer, make the haul in West Virginia. We're from Ohio, so it's like a 3.5 hour trip. It's not too bad. And we get there, the truck sitting on jack stands, well, not even jack stands, sitting on cinder blocks. That hub assembly on that side's tore apart. The wheels are all off of it. The wheels are all sitting underneath of it. It's these old turbines that it still has on it. But anyhow, the truck was a mess. So we tried to like dig the lug nuts out of dirt that was around it, stick the wheels back on. We had to use a second truck to pull the truck onto the trailer. That hub was missing pieces, so we had it like strapped on, dragging it. We fought with this thing for hours. Okay, we get this thing on a trailer finally. There's mice popping out of the hood and out of the vents, and you know, the seat's shredded, and it's just, the truck's a mess. I'm smiling ear to ear though the whole time. We get this thing on a trailer, and this is all gravel roads back to this place. And I say this place is in a holler, like you lose cell service about 20 minutes out from the road, you know what I mean? So we get 5 minutes down the road, blow a trailer tire. This is a double axle trailer. Realized the truck had shifted and was pushing the fender into the tire. We get out, we change it out for the spare. At this point, we're traveling home. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're probably about an hour and a half from being home. You know, we're just out hour and a half outside of Columbus. So we blow a second trailer tire. Great, we don't have another spare. No tire shops are open. Some police stopped, checked on us, and was like, you know, anybody can help? And we're like, nope, everybody's closed. They didn't want to leave the truck and trailer there overnight. So my dad, he takes the back tire off, takes the front tire off one side, puts the good front tire on the back of the trailer, and leaves the front one off altogether. Takes some like brackets and scrap metal that was in the back of the truck, straps up this axle so it's not dragging the ground. We drove the rest of the way home with 3 wheels on this trailer. And sure enough, we made it home. We dropped it in my brother's driveway for the night. And next morning, we dropped it off over at my house, got it off the trailer. Again, I'm smiling ear to ear. This thing's got mice popping out of everything. So I want to see if it'd fire. So I stuck a battery in it, dumped some fuel down the carb, and I hit the key. And when you know it, it cranked over, it fired up. Freaking knocking like crazy. And I was like, oh man, you know, it's blown up. This is my 78 Chevy K10 I just picked up yesterday, and I'm going to attempt to start it for the first time. And I don't even know how many years it's been sitting, for 3 years that I know of, and previously it hasn't been registered since 2006. So here we go, see if it even starts. Okay. I want to burn up the starter here. Ooh. I let it run though for a second. Sure enough, knocking cleared up. And I think it was just the rust in the cylinders. You know, it had to be cleaned up. So, you know, I let it run for a second. I shut it off. It'd putter out. The carburetor was dirty. Anyhow, the carburetor was dirty, and it'd sputter out and everything. And so I started going through, just cleaning up the interior, tinkering with the engine, stuck a new carburetor on it, and got it to run a little longer each time. Sure enough, I had the engine running pretty decent, put new spark plugs, wires, things like that on it. So I'm like, okay, well, I need to find the transmission and transfer case for this truck. So I went, got on Marketplace, I found a used NP203 transfer case and TH350 transmission for, I think it was 200 bucks. Well, what I ended up doing is I sold my Silverado, which is a risky move because I only had the Camaro to rely on at the time. Sold my Silverado for 800. I spent the 400 I needed on this truck, and I spent $200 on a transmission transfer case, and I spent $200 on miscellaneous parts. Stuck some used tires on it, stuck a bunch of new engine components on it. And not even a month later, after getting this truck from sitting in the field for 12 to 15 years, I was driving it. It was sketchy. It had a lot of problems, but I was driving it. And a few months after that, our West Virginia trip rolls back around, and I drove it all the way back to the cabin. And I'll tell you what, everybody's in disbelief when they seen this old thing rolling back up in the field on its under its own power. Everybody's seen that thing sitting there for years and years and years, and here I come, 17 going into 18 years old, rolling up in this 78 pickup everybody thought was heading to scrap. And just throughout the years, I just been doing more and more to it. I rocked that 350 in it for quite a while. It was dog tired, it was sludged up. It was the 350 that was in this was actually an 86 350 4-bolt. I know it was an 86 because it went to the one-piece rear main seal. I believe that's what it is. I think they went from the 2-piece to the 1-piece. And then it was the last year, it was the first year for the 1-piece rear main seal, but it was the last year of the carburetor before they went to throttle body injection. So it still had the provisions for a mechanical pump on the block. I found out the hard way also that it was the different year because when I went to go replace a flex plate on it down the road, I bought a flex plate for a 78 Chevy and it didn't fit. So I had to go to the the 86. Yeah, 86. So anyhow, I ran with that 350 for a little while. It got pretty tired. I burned up the first transmission used when I put in it. I mean, it detonated. The planetary gear completely came apart. So I had a friend of ours rebuild it. It lasted me another like year. Detonated again. And then I had to buy another transmission for parts. Took it to my transmission guy and everything. Had it rebuilt. And then it's been good ever since. The 350, again, like I said, it was getting tired after that last time I had that transmission rebuilt. I wanted more power. I wanted more reliability. I'd already swapped the Camaro. So I want to say this was 2021. I went and picked up a 5.3, and it's the L59. It's just flex fuel variant. And it's out of no force. It's drive-by-wire. Picked up that 5.3 for 550 bucks. The guy I got it off of was actually going to put it in the square body already. So it came with headers for a square body. He already had the vehicle anti-theft deleted from the ECM. Gave me the ECM, the harness, complete engine. So pretty much everything I needed to put it in this truck. And I went and bought the extra stuff. Went through, I wired up a fuse box, made my own harness again from the truck harness, saved, cost, everything. So now it's got a 5.3. Still has a turbo 350, still has 203. I've eaten a few drive shafts on it. Back in 2020, I lifted it. So it has a 4-inch lift now. When I got it, it had stock suspension. I broke a leaf spring eyelet at the front, playing around with it, and it cost almost as much to replace the leaf springs as it did just get a lift kit. So I went and bought a Rough Country 4-inch lift, the re-arched front springs, and I got blocks for the rear. Didn't need anything fancy, just needed something to get it by and give it a little bit of a look. I swapped out the 31 1050s for 33 1250 15s. So that's what it's had on it ever since. I'll probably keep that size. I think it fits the truck good. I've rebuilt the whole front suspension, new tie rods, new ball joints, new everything, just bushings, bearings, whatever. All new U-joints and everything. The only thing I didn't do, I didn't rebuild the axles. I didn't rebuild the differentials yet. I didn't rebuild the transfer case. So transfer case and differentials are untouched. The transmission's been rebuilt. The 5.3, I need to do what I did to the Camaro, pull it back out, re-gasket it, because I just threw a 200,000 mile 5.3 in it and called it done. But I mean, it runs like a top. It's got good oil pressure. Things like that. But overall, the truck's been really good to me, and I use it for a lot of stuff. I've kind of retired it as my main hauler now, because The truck only has 308 gears in it, so it's actually pretty much a dog trying to tow anything. It's very great for the highway. Like driving down the freeway, things, it's not screaming. It's got, got good RPM, going 65, 70, no problem. But I got my Tahoe now, so I've been leaning on it more for pulling trailers and whatnot. So I kind of retired this from going to West Virginia too, because I take my 2 dogs with me and don't have much room in this single cab. Anyhow, this one's on the bucket list to get painted as well. Again, I don't have a garage right now, so except for a little 1 car, this doesn't fit. So it's on the bucket list. Really, the only thing that needs done to this truck, same deal, is interior, bodywork, and then like I said, the differentials could use freshened up. But overall, it's been super solid for me, and I'm grateful for all the good years I've had with it so far. When I met my fiance, I was daily driving it, so this is her favorite. Every time I'm driving this, she's got a smile on her face, so that makes me happy. And we've had a lot of good memories, going places, going on dates. Our very first date was in this truck, so it's been good. But really, the truck's kind of a mess right now. It needs cleaned up. The engine bay is kind of a mess. I'll give you guys a little tour here since we're out here. Okay, so like I said, the interior is a mess right now. It needs cleaned. So I have this generic Jegs aftermarket steering column because the original steering column, I went to pull the steering wheel to replace the turn signal switch, and all the bearings fell out of the steering column. So this was the cheapest, quickest route. Fire extinguisher, because you always want to have that in an old car. I have a gaping hole in my floor where my shifters are supposed to go, because I was trying to convert it to twin stick, but I don't know, got sidetracked, never got back to it. I need to just buy a factory 203 shifter assembly for it, because the factory one was what I had in it before was bugging up a lot. The OBD2 port for my diagnostic for the 5.3. My gauges don't really work except for the fuel gauge, volts. I don't really have them hooked up. Speedometer, I think. No, I don't think my speedometer's hooked up either. I think the cable broke on me again. Cup holder I 3D printed a few years back. It goes in the ashtray. My fiance got me this super sweet bow tie rear view mirror. Door panels at one point I painted when I first got the truck, but it's starting to flake off. I need to just get new ones. This bench seat I got off Marketplace. When I got it, it didn't have any rips and tears, but here we are. It was still in better shape than the one I had. I'm planning to recover this, and I'm going to install heating elements when I recover it, so that way I have heated seats. The radio, which you can tell somebody cut the dash to put a single dent in it, but thankfully they left the little flaps. I just never cleaned them up and welded them. The trim's cut too, but I bent them back into place, and I bought this Retro Sound radio. I think it's Retro Sound brand, I can't remember. And it's got this little thing right here. It's Bluetooth, and you can say AM, FM, Bluetooth, but it looks kind of like a factory radio. It's got the knobs and whatnot. But I think it's a cleaner look than the other one. My heater controls are kind of falling down right now, but anyhow, so I've got that. I got my Cobra 29 LTD Classic in here, which I need to get a new antenna for. My bed is the absolute worst part of this truck. I mean, it's ready to go. This bed has seen better days. I need to either build a wooden bed for it or I need to find a clean one, but people want gold prices for these square body beds, especially short bed flavor like this one. But frame's in really good shape on this truck. Doesn't have any rust holes or anything yet. I need to get on it. Need to strip the frame down, clean it up, paint it. This tail light's a little more secure. This bed is all Bondo and rust and just disaster. So this bed just needs to go. It's beyond the point of saving. The floor itself isn't terrible, but we have a bunch of garbage in here right now. But the that corner over there is barely hanging on. Cab's not terrible. They patched the cab corners before, but they're starting to go again, so I need to get on that. Fenders need some patchwork. Doors will need fixing up. The hood, I'll have to replace the hood. The underside of it's getting rusted out, but it's not too bad. Truck's still pretty straight. Still needs some work, but Good news is I can fire it up. I can take it anywhere, and I trust it. Anyhow, that's going to be the story of my 78. If you guys want to know anything else about it, just drop a comment down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.